The movie opens with a TV reporter named Angela and her cameraman Pablo, whom we don't see on camera, making an introduction for their TV program, While You Sleep, in which they cover the night shift of different kinds of jobs. This time they are covering the night shift of one of Barcelona's local fire stations. Angela has a hard time shooting the intro and gets interrupted multiple times due to the passing fire trucks. She first introduces Andrew, who is in charge of the night shift. He shows her the firefighter's suit and equipment, which Angela tries on and sees it is too big for her. She asks him if they will be allowed to go with the firefighters if there is a call, and Andrew tells them they can go. Andrew then introduced them to the whole firefighter crew as they were eating dinner. He introduces her to Manu and Alex, whom Angela will be accompanying on the night shift. After they finish dinner, Angela interviews Alex. He tells her that most of the night nothing happens, and if they get a call most of the time the calls are not an actual fire, but minor problems like rescuing a pet or fixing broken water mains. Angela says she wishes there was a call so that they can see how the firefighters react. After a while, Angela becomes bored as there is no call coming in and the fire station is quiet. She goes to the reception room and is happy to find 2 female workers. Angela continues to explore the station and sees that no one is around. She shows where the firefighters sleep and shows the slide pole that the firefighters used to get to the fire trucks. Later, Angela plays basketball with Manu, Alex, and other firefighters. Suddenly, the alarm goes off as they get a call from an apartment where a person is trapped and needs a rescue. She and Pablo follow the firefighters outside as they run to the fire trucks. They get into the fire truck and go with Manu, Alex, and another firefighter named Jose. Andrea asks them why they don't turn on the siren, and Alex tells her normally they don't use it for this kind of problem, but for an urgent situation. Manu says they can turn it on if she wants, and Angela says it's fine. They finally arrive at the apartment and take out their equipment from the fire truck. They run toward the apartment and see that the police have already arrived. They go inside and find all the residents of the apartment complaining about a woman screaming from her room, and tells them that the woman lives alone with her cat. As they are about to go to the upper floor, they find the police officer, Adulto, who tells them that the lady lives on the first floor of the apartment. He asks what the TV reporters are doing there, and the firemen say they are with them. Adulto tells them that the woman might have fallen inside and was screaming loudly. The neighbors said that the lady have been acting weird lately. They reach the first floor and find another police officer, Joven, with another resident. They send the resident down with the others as they get ready to open the door. Angela begins to brief the viewers on the situation and gets frightened when Manu breaks the door open. They get inside and see the old lady standing at the end of the hallway disoriented, covered in blood and growling. The police officers try to calm her down and tell her they are going to take her to the hospital. The group approaches her and Pablo turns the camera light on, freaking out the old lady. The group quickly makes him turn it off. Officer Joven tells them to stop taping, but Angela quietly tells Pablo to keep recording secretly. The elderly woman, initially appearing sick and confused, suddenly becomes aggressive. Adulto gets close to the lady and tries to calm her down. As he turns to the group to tell them to make a room, the old lady attacks him, biting him viciously in his jaw and neck. The group tries to get the old lady off of Adulto, but the lady continues to attack him. After a struggle, they manage to free Adulto and rush him downstairs for help as Alex stays with the old lady. Angela and Pablo continue to record the moment, capturing the chaos on camera. They make it to the ground floor and try to take Adulto outside for help, but the residents tell them that they won't be allowed to go out. One resident, Gillum, tells them that he is an intern and says they need to make a compress on Adulto's wound. They put Adulto down and Angela gives Gillum her shirt so that he can hold on to Adulto's wound. The group tries to open the exit door but finds that it has been blocked from the outside. Suddenly, from an outside speaker, they get told that the health authorities have decided to seal off the building for safety reasons, and tell them that they are working hard to get them out as soon as possible. Until then, they need to stay calm and cooperate. They tell them that they will notify them through Joven when there is a new instruction. This makes the residents panic, and Joven tries to call his commanding post for help. He tells them that he has an officer down and needs an ambulance quickly, but he gets told that they can't do anything to help him at the moment. Gillum tells them that Adulto is losing a lot of blood and might die if they don't rush him to the hospital. Joven gets into an argument with Angela when he tries to make them stop recording, but Angela tells him he should be focused on getting them out rather than stopping them from recording. The residents backs up Angela and tells Joven to let Angela keep recording so that the rest of the world can see what is going on. Manu asks the residents what is behind the shutter door, and he gets told it is a textile workshop. He asks if there is an exit door through there, and the residents say there is. One resident, Matter, tells them that she got a call from her husband, who was outside to get antibiotics for her daughter, told her that there are a lot of cops outside the apartment and they had blocked off the street. Suddenly, Alex falls down from above onto the ground. He starts bleeding profusely. and the group checks and finds he is still alive. Then they hear someone screaming from the upper floor, and Manu says he is going to check it out. Before Manu and Joven go upstairs, Joven finally has enough and makes Angela and Pablo turn off the camera. After a few seconds, Angela and Pablo turn on the camera and they go upstairs alone. They go to the old lady's room, and Manu and Joven are not in there. Pablo continues to record as he moves forward, despite Angela's protest not to go. Suddenly, a young woman comes out frantically running as she is covered in blood before she falls to the ground. Manu and Joven finally find them and they check the woman's pulse and find she is dead. The old lady then comes out, now more aggressive than before. Joven takes out his gun and tells the old lady to stay where she is, but the lady charges at them screaming, forcing Joven to shoot her down. Joven starts to panic, but Manu calms him down. Manu and Joven go back downstairs as Angela and Pablo stay there. Angela is shocked by what she has witnessed and asks Pablo if he caught everything on the camera and demands he shows her. They then get back downstairs and arrive just as Manu and Joven open the shutter door. Manu tells Joven to stay with the wounded while he checks the exit. Joven tells him that they have a strict order to stay, but Manu says he doesn't care about the order as 2 men will die if they wait. They rush to the back door and find it has been sealed too. They get told from outside not to try to leave the building as all exits have been sealed. They tell them that a BNC protocol has been declared and that a health inspector will come to assess the situation. Angela demands to know what the BNC protocol is, and Manu tells her that it is a protocol that is used in terms of biological, nuclear, or chemical threat situations. The residents begin to panic, and Manu tells them it is a common situation to calm them down. Gilliam informs them that Alex and Adulto are stable, but says they still need to go to the hospital as they won't be alive much longer. Joven tries to make the residents get back to the hall, but one resident, Cesar, says that there is no cell phone network and all the TVs and radios in the building don't work. Matter says that her daughter, Jennifer, needs to go to the hospital as she is burning up due to a high fever. Gilliam says they can go out through his office window in his room as it is not far down. They quickly rush to his room and into his office. Before they escape, they see that the authorities are already there, and they see that they are military personnel. They tell them to get back before they seal off the window. Panic sets in, and the building becomes a prison for everyone inside. They scream at Joven, asking him to explain what is going on. Joven finally had enough and pulled his gun out on them and tells the group to get back downstairs. They manage to calm him down and goes downstairs. Later, Angela tells the viewers that it is nearly 2 a.m. and says they are still isolated in the building as the residents are scared. Pablo records Gilliam as he takes care of Alex and Adulto, and we see that they are getting really sick. Angela then interviews Gilliam, who says that both Alex and Adulto are in critical condition and they both have been bitten by the old lady. He says he is an intern and has never been in this kind of serious situation. She then interviews 2 elderly couples who also live there. The elderly lady says they were sleeping when she heard screams and they quickly went downstairs. They say that something strange is going on and that is why they are isolated. Angela next interviews an Asian woman who lives there with her husband and son and is in shock from witnessing Alex falling down. Angela then interviews Jennifer, who is sick from tonsillitis. Angela asks her how old she is and Jennifer says she is 7 years old. Jennifer says she lives with her mother, Matter, her father, and her dog Max. Angela asks where the dog is, and Jennifer says he got really sick and got taken to a vet. Angela then interviews Matter, who says she is going to sue whoever is responsible and will call the newspaper and tell them about everything that happened. Angela next interviews Cesar, who blames the Asian family for the situation as he says they always eat raw meat. Joven gathers the residents and tells them that he has spoken to the authorities outside and they have told him that the health inspector has arrived and is on his way. He tells them that there is a possible infection and the health inspector will be taking blood samples from all of them. And after all of them get cleared, they can leave. Manu starts checking to see if everyone is downstairs and learns that the Asian lady's father is still on the 3rd floor. Joven asks if anyone lives in the penthouse and Gilliam says no one lives there. He says it is owned by a man from Madrid, but he is never there and it's been closed up for years. The health inspector finally arrives in the building wearing a special suit and a gas mask. The health inspector first goes to Alex and Adulto to extract blood samples. Angela and Pablo start recording, but Joven closes the door before they can capture anything. They then find an opening through the window and Pablo starts recording through it. The health inspector first handcuffs Alex before injecting him with some kind of substance as Gilliam assists him. He then gives another handcuff to Joven and tells him to handcuff Adolfo too. Then suddenly Adolfo gets up and attacks the health inspector. Manu and Joven manage to free him before Alex wakes up too and attacks Gilliam and bites him. Pablo and Angela run out and find Manu, Joven, and the health inspector running out of the room before locking it. Angela says Gilliam is still in there, but the health inspector says he got bitten and they can't let him out. He tells them that it spreads through saliva and says the reaction time depends on the blood type of a person. Then suddenly Gillum and the infected start banging the window. They quickly run to the hall and close the shutter. Manu and Joven ask the inspector what is going on. The health inspector takes off his mask and tells them that yesterday they received a call from a vet who had a dog brought in with an unknown disease. The dog went into a coma and a few moments later came to and was extraordinarily aggressive and started attacking all the pets there. They checked his chip and it led them here. Angela asks him if the dog's name is Max, and the health inspector says it is. All the residents turn to Matter and suspect Jennifer might be infected. They try to check Jennifer, but Matter says she just has tonsillitis. Then suddenly, Jennifer bites Matter in the face before running upstairs. Matter tries to run after her daughter, but the health inspector and Joven stop her before they handcuff her to the banister. The Asian lady starts to panic as her father is still on the 3rd floor of the building. The health inspector gives Manu a syringe and tells him to inject Jennifer with it. Manu, alongside Joven, goes upstairs as Pablo follows them. They get into the elderly woman's room and see that her body is no longer there. They search for Jennifer, but don't find her there. Pablo then turns around to see Jennifer standing, looking infected and covered in blood. Joven tries to calm her down and they see her eye has changed color. Suddenly, Jennifer attacks him and bites him in the neck. She continues to attack him as Pablo and Manu struggle to get her off of him. Joven holds Jennifer and tells Manu and Pablo to run as he has been bitten. Pablo and Manu try to run out of the room, but the elderly woman, who is now alive again, appears. She screams frantically before Manu hits her with his mallet. She tries to charge at them again, but Manu hits her hard with the mallet, knocking her down. They run downstairs and find chaos erupting as the infected tries to break through the shutter. Matter demands they free her, but since Joven has the keys to the cuff, they cannot free her. Angela tries to help her, but the infected begins to break through the shutter. The health inspector runs upstairs with the other residents. Manu takes Angela and runs upstairs, leaving Matter downstairs to be devoured by the infected. They run into Cesar's room and barricade themselves inside as the infected bangs on the door. The infected finally leaves and goes to the upper floors. Manu checks if anyone is bitten, and fortunately, no one has been bitten. Angela breaks down after witnessing Matter being eaten alive by the infected. Angela says they are going to die as the authorities don't care about them, but Cesar says they will send someone as the health inspector is still with them. Manu angrily goes to confront him, but he tells them that he has been bitten. He tells them to get away from him before he locks himself inside. Cesar says there is an underground storage area in the textile workshop that has a drain cover that connects to the sewer system, and they can escape through there. He says the only problem is that it has a reinforced door and the key is in Gillen's room. Suddenly, the health inspector breaks the door and attacks Cesar, biting him viciously. Manu alongside Angela and Pablo runs out of the room. The building is now quiet. Angela says they need to escape through the underground storage area, but Manu says the keys are in Gillen's room and he doesn't know which room it is. Angela says they can check the mailboxes downstairs to know which room he lives in. Then an infected one suddenly attacks them, but Manu manages to defeat him by snapping his neck. They run downstairs and start checking the mailboxes and Manu sees he lives on the 3rd floor, number 2. Before they can go, Matter, who is now infected, has risen up. They manage to run upstairs as she is still cuffed to the banister. They are then attacked by another infected woman, but Manu and Pablo manage to subdue her. As they run toward Gillen's room, the light of the whole apartment building goes out. Pablo turns the camera light on to get attacked by the Asian lady who is infected too. Manu, with the help of Angela, manages to get her down and hits her with his mallet until she stops screaming. They reach Gillen's room and Manu breaks the door and tells them he will wait for them outside. Angela and Pablo go inside and start searching for the keys. They look for the keys everywhere, but they are no way to be found. They finally manage to find a bunch of keys in Gillen's office. They go outside and Manu is no longer there. They hear growling and look downstairs to find all the residents are now infected, and Manu is one of them. They run to the final floor, and Angela struggles to find the key to the last room. She finally manages to open it, and they get inside just before the infected reaches them. Pablo's camera light gets loose and they stand in the darkness. Angela starts to panic, but Pablo tells her that they are in the penthouse Gillen told them about earlier and says no one will be there as it has been locked up. Pablo finally manages to fix the light and turns it on. They look around and see a bunch of laboratory stuff, a cross, and a little girl's portrait on the wall. They then see an article on the wall that says the Vatican is investigating the possession of a Portuguese girl. They look around and see more articles about the girl. They go deeper into the room and find a bunch of crosses and Bible pages along with Jesus Christ's and Holy Mary's portraits all around with a chair in the middle. Angela finds a bunch of files and starts to go through them. They see many of the Vatican's possessed cases and find a tape recorder at the bottom. Angela turns it on and they hear a priest talking. He says that the enzyme in the infected is unstable and it deteriorates when it comes in contact with oxygen. He says the enzyme is not only resistant but it mutates and says it is contagious. He says the telegram from Rome has arrived and the girl must die. Angela rewinds it to understand what he is talking about and hears the priest saying he must eliminate her and this decision should have been made years ago. Angela and Pablo go to the next room and find a bunch of medical tools there, as we hear the priest say he must follow procedure and that the ritual is very specific. He says he is going to seal off the room and the seal should keep her in. As they continue to look around, the door to the attic opens. Pablo says he is going to check it out, despite Angela's protest otherwise. He records with his camera around the dark attic and suddenly an infected boy comes out and hits the camera, breaking the light. Pablo quickly switches to night vision mode. He tells Angela to stay behind him as he can see through the night vision. As they start to make their way out, Pablo sees a figure in the distance and tells Angela to get back. He tells her to get down and to be quiet. A disheveled, mutated, and possessed woman comes in holding a hammer. She is revealed to be the possessed little girl from the articles, and after 20 years of possession, she mutates into her current state. The possessed woman looks around, but can't find them as it is dark. Pablo, using his night vision, guides Angela quietly to get out of the room. They start to quietly pass around her, but unfortunately, they knock down an object, leading them to run in the dark. The possessed woman chases them as she swings the hammer frantically. Pablo tells Angela to run. And when he turns around to the possessed lady, she attacks him and repeatedly bashes him with her hammer until he is dead. Angela calls out to Pablo as she searches for him in the dark. She manages to find the camera and sees the possessed woman devouring Pablo. The possessed woman hears Angela and chases her. Angela runs to the door screaming until she falls to the ground. The camera falls in front of her as Angela lays on the ground. She crawls closer to the camera and hears a screaming noise. She looks around in the dark room before she suddenly gets dragged away by the possessed lady.